Well, I'm back out in my garden for a couple of hours in between the showers today. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. Got a few things to focus on this time. One of them is going to be a complete review of the track plan loop for the Suburban, to include the main sections and the kind of progress I've made so far. I'm going to show you the cable bundles. There's 4 new cable bundles that I've made. If you've seen the previous videos, you'll have seen how they've been made, but I've got all 4 of the main ones done for the new section along the Suburban Line, and I'm going to talk about how they interface with the sections for Woodgate Station. Now, talking about Woodgate Station, you know, nothing's ever easy, is it? And you think you've done something, and then if you followed my vlogging for enough time, you'll know that I changed things down the line a little bit. And some of the work that I did, 10 or 12 years ago, I do need to upgrade slightly to really take full advantage of the DLC system that I'm installing. And more about that in a few minutes' time. So I'm really pleased with these cable bundles. They're the same old sort of style that I've been doing over the years, but to have 4 together and not laid, it's quite impressive. They've certainly taken a bit of work. Well, this is LM03. You haven't seen me make that one, but that's exactly the same as the others, but bespoke for the particular dimensions that I've needed. So with LM03 goes on to be LM06, LM08 and LM09. Now those numbers relate to a track plan that I'm going to talk through in a short time, a little bit later in this video. Just going to talk about the next deployment strategy for these cable bundles. So each one of these has its place around the line under the track, and they run in the grooves, and perhaps you've seen me cut those in previous videos. There's a number of playlists, so do check back if you're not sure kind of what I'm talking about right now. So I've got these 4 cable bundles to lay. So the next bits to do with these cable bundles is obviously get them down on the track bed. So the strategy with that is it's fairly simple really. I do need to check the depth and width of the grooves is adequate in the various places along the line, because sometimes there's 2 cable bundles under any one section of track as the sections overlap. So I'll check that. Then I'll give the whole area a good jet washing after it's dry. I've got a grey masonry paint that I put down, kind of a dark grey masonry paint that I use. Lay the cable bundles, pop the track down, all is good. But I do need to do a little bit of tidying up in the meantime. LM09 is the one that goes all the way around the back of the shed. It's the longest one from the main signal box control panel, so I'll start with that first and then sort of work either way round from there. Okay, with LM09 sort of partly underway, more to do with all of that. Oh my goodness, I could be there for a couple of days finishing that off, but I'll do a bit more just down the line in between now and the next video. But let's come back to looking at the Linleys main signal box control panel. Yeah, sorry, it's still untidy, but behind here is the main control panel for the whole Linleys main signal box area. So behind here will be all of the control modules for Linleys main station. I made this basic timber work about a year ago. Now's not the time to explain all of the details about these control modules. There were lots of videos in previous playlists, so I've got more to explain in any case. So let's leave it there for the moment that these are modules for the various aspects of the Garden Railway DLC system. But there will be space here for about 14 of these modules along this shelf here, and a further space for another 14 along here. So that's 28 spaces in that main area, but there's also space for some power control modules and other various bits just on the right hand side, and I haven't made the box for that yet. The Mimic panel and control switches for this signal box are just here, but there's a whole load of other work that needs to be done there as well. So that's another quick look at where all the control modules will be and the Mimic panel box. And I've got going with some of the cable bundles. Let me make a coffee now, and I'm going to talk you through the sections for the Suburban Line.
Well now, the Suburban Line here at the Linleys Garden Railway is somewhat complex. The line forms a continuous loop of track. Along the line there are two stations, Woodgate Crescent and Linleys Main. At Linleys Main, the Suburban passes up through platform 2, off around the shed, and returns down through platform 3. There are a few junctions along the way. Here's one for the branch line to Vista End, as I've previously explained. Here to link up with the up and down main lines. And here to provide a through bypass track at Woodgate Crescent Station. The continuous line has 8 block sections, that's 7 nose to tail forming the full loop, and an extra to manage the bypass loop track at Woodgate Crescent Station. Each section is managed by one of the 2 signal boxes, that's Woodgate Crescent and Linleys Main boxes. Although, as previously explained, the junction signal LM09 and VE01 are jointly managed by both Linleys Main and Vista End. Let's look at each block section quickly, starting at Linleys Main station. LM03 is Linleys Main platform 2 up home signal just before the crossover junction. LM08 is the platform 2 station starter. LM09 is the Vista End branch entry junction signal and also acts as the down home for Linleys Main platform 3. LM06 is the Suburban down platform 3 starter signal. And then down the Suburban Line from Linleys Main is the approach to Woodgate Crescent Station around the back of the studio and out of the tunnel. WCO1 is the station home signal, with WCO1 as the full outer home and WCO1X acting as a fully automatic inner home. WCO2 is the platform starter and WCO3 is the bypass loop section signal before the junction. Then WCO4 acts like an advanced starter for Woodgate Crescent, but being tucked mostly out of sight is really just a remote block section. All block sections have their own independent section controller to manage train speed and signal indication. There's a lot going on with each section module, but in addition to all the line-based inputs and outputs, the interlocking managers ensure that all signal and points are set and train movements made without conflict. I've been asked how many trains can run at the same time on the railway. On the Suburban Line here, the maximum technical number is the number of sections minus 1, so that's 6. Practically though, this would result in trains stopping most of the time at every signal to wait for the section ahead to clear. An operational maximum number is really half the technical maximum and therefore would be 3 trains. And if the line was being controlled manually by the signalman, the maximum number becomes a manageable 2. This may be supplemented by an extra train using the Woodgate Crescent bypass track and a train entering or leaving the Vista End branch. Right then, enough diagram stuff for this time. Coffee had, rain stopped, let's go outside.
Hope that track plan made sense. Let's look at Woodgate Crescent Station here on the railway. I haven't powered this single box up this year yet, so hopefully all is going to be okay. All the control modules, as you may have seen from previous videos, are in behind here. I'll have to remove the front panel, just give all the modules a quick check over. There's always the chance there's some cobwebs and bits and pieces, but I'll worry about that later on. Well, you may have noticed that there's an absence of a big bush here. There was a big kind of bushy piece of foliage masking and hiding the side of this box, and now we've moved this plant here, but it's still very exposed, and I don't really like this big green box just as kind of obvious as it is. I am tempted to move it. There'll be quite a lot of work involved in moving it, but there's an additional benefit by moving it to here because moving it to the right here will give me the opportunity of including a new underground conduit from the main junction point in the middle of the garden here out to the side. When I put the station in about 10-12 years ago, I hadn't completely finished the design work of the DLC system. Although I knew I needed into single box connections, I didn't allow enough capacity for some of those wires. And in hindsight, I should have included more in the way of underground trunking, which I've done in latter development areas, but not with this first station area that I put in right at the beginning. So, not necessarily in time for Easter. Well, I won't manage it because Easter, my running days are only about 2 or 3 weeks away. I'm going to dig up a little bit of the grass here and lay another 110 piece of pipe from the middle junction point there across out to the side. And the best pop-up point really is just here. So overall, it may just be the best plan to lay the underground conduit and move the main control box to the right. It might be a little bit more discreet as well. What I haven't yet shown you is how I add the trained position detectors, the little reed switches. Whether I manage to do that now, I don't know, but certainly I'll have to do that very soon. Well, I've been everywhere on LM09 and the end of 6 and 8 to check that there's enough capacity in the grooves, and there is here. I fear that there isn't through the station, but I don't have to worry about that this time. So what I'm going to do is recoil up all the cable bundles and then get the jet wash out and give this a good damn cleaning. And if I'm lucky, I'll be able to do the painting tomorrow. We'll see. It's showery now actually, so it's got to be dry for the painting, obviously. Well, that's scrubbed and washed. Unfortunately, my old petrol jet wash has failed. Well, the motor, the engine works, but the pumping thing underneath seems not to be pumping. The water comes through, but there's no pressure to it, so I'll have to, I don't know, get that serviced or look at it. Whatever. But I've given it a good scrub, the track bed, and used a kind of a jet nozzle on my hose, and it's actually come up quite well. It's fairly fresh concrete in this area anyway, so all I need to do is let that dry and stick a coat of paint on, and then we'll be ready for putting the cable bundles in and then the track back. Oh my goodness, then we are making progress. Well, there we are with another update. Thank you for sticking with me and following along with this rather large project. More to do, and Easter, my running days for Easter are very, very near now. So until the next time, from the Linleys Garden Railway, thanks for watching and bye for now.